So here you have the D4 dice, you have the D6, the D8, the D10, the D12, and the D20. So the D4 dice speaks to the element that you're going to be dealing with. With this coming up as a 3, that's most likely you're going to deal with a water element. Something emotional, something romantic, probably something dealing with how you treat yourself, kind of like self-care. So, but what's coming for me is kind of like I'm getting like blocked throat chakra. Looking even closer when we get to the the D6, which speaks to the problem that you're going to be dealing with. So this usually speaks to, you guessed it, throat chakra things. Like, how are you communicating with someone? Is this something that you are not saying? Is this something that you've been repressing to say to a loved one? Is this something that you have been avoiding because it's probably dealing with like a close friend or your significant other? It could possibly even be like your boss at work, and you don't want to kind of rock the boat because now you've become friends, and so the lines are kind of blurred on how to handle things going forward. So then we look to how you can handle the problem. What is the problem? And it deals with right action. So to me, it just really leans on the role of kind of like, you have to handle this situation with compassion. You need to take positive action and make sure it's beneficial to everyone, to others, because maybe you're the one that's kind of like, maybe everyone is waiting for you to say something. Like, this kind of feels like a thing where everyone around you has kind of told you like, this situation isn't good for you, nothing good is going to come of this, and you've kind of just been biting your tongue because you're afraid of rocking the boat. You don't want to be the one that it's kind of like people pleaser kind of vibes. So to me, with this the 3, you're dealing with the water, the 4 dealing with something with speech, with diction, and then the 4 with right action, dealing with handling something compassionately. This definitely feels like this is something very close to you. It may be, again, a best friend, a longtime friend, a significant other. It could even be something as simple, well, it's probably not simple to you, but it could be something as normal as like, you're dealing with your significant other and you've probably been together for an X amount of time, and now you're waiting for them to kind of like pop the question, and then they have to pop the question. So now you're like internalizing things and overthinking it about, okay, well, is this something wrong with me? Are they not going to propose? Is this something where they just kind of like, is this not going anywhere? Like, you don't want to rush them, but you also don't want to waste your time. So it feels like it's like one of those kind of like difficult situations. And so then getting into the D10, which is the difficulty, it's the 8. So this speaks 1 out of 10. It's an 8. Very difficult to deal with, but it's not so difficult to where you can't overcome it. You can't handle it. You can't, kind of jump that hurdle and get over it. It's just being able to put the plan into action, essentially. And so then we get to your D12, which is time. And so you have a 7. And so one of the ways you can kind of interpret this is that since it's dealing with something with time, 7, this will mean that it will probably be something that you will have to deal with in kind of like summertime, think July. But since July has already passed, it's either saying that the root of the issue, or the straw on the camel's back that kind of broke everything, happened in July, and now you're getting ready to be like, okay, I'm sick of biting my tongue. Again, 7 also relates to things dealing with free time, friends and family, hobbies. So again, this is in correlation with somebody that is very close to you, a friend, a significant other, so forth. And so you really need to address the situation at hand and deal with it, because it's a close relationship. It's a close relationship, and that's the only reason why it's so difficult to speak your mind and you've been biting your tongue about this, is because it's somebody very close to you and you don't kind of want to rock the boat. You don't want to risk losing a friend. You don't want to risk them looking at you a different way or coming off as a bitch. It's just gives me people pleaser. And then with your D20 speaking to a lesson that is going to be learned from this. So typically, if you don't know tarot, 7 deals with the chariot, water. So this could be, again, a significant other. It could probably be cancer that you probably aren't talking to, that you need to talk to. You've been kind of like biting your tongue back or holding back on because maybe you feel like they're not emotionally prepared to deal with it, and neither have you really, because you haven't figured out the way to have that conversation with the person. And so this really speaks to, you need to have power and confidence and leadership to kind of override your emotional reaction, because you know how they say like anger is literally like the lowest level of emotion that we usually have to access. So don't let your anger be the thing that drives this conversation. Let it just be kind of the thing in the back pocket that gives you the courage to go forward with it. You definitely need to be decisive in how you handle this and moving forward. So I would say planning is necessary. Kind of just embody the chariot. Right now you've kind of been on halt, and now it's time to take action. It's time to move. And maybe you are a Cancer that's kind of like having this. This does kind of seem cancerish to me, but make a plan. Just write down what you want to get across. Think about what you want to say, how you want to say it, especially in a moment where you're calm, and just kind of like jot that down. And remember, like, you're not trying to attack this person. You're just trying to get some understanding. You're trying to reach mutual grounds, some mutual understanding, even if it's probably something you won't want to hear. For example, like, again, going back to my story of kind of like, maybe you've been in a long-term relationship and you haven't been wanting to say what you needed to this person about how they kind of made you feel back around your birthday. You know, July is still in Cancer season and stuff. So maybe they made you feel some type of way around your birthday or something like that, and you've kind of been biting your tongue. You probably hoped things are going to go differently, or they were going to do more for you. Now is the time to kind of just don't get angry about it, but just be like, hey, you know, that was kind of messed up, and I wish things could have went a different way. I just kind of understand where you're coming from, and I want you to understand where I'm coming from. I don't hate you, you know, I don't think any less of you, but this is how I feel. This is what I've been wanting to say, and you know, now I'm getting this off my chest. So I hope we can move forward from this together, and if not, you know, I'm not going to be upset about that either. Like, I think it's just something along those lines that you really kind of have to deal with and kind of think this through. Just be careful to, I would say the warning is to lead with your head and not with your heart this time, no matter what the situation is. Lead with your head, not your heart, and just kind of really understand where you want to go from there. With that, I'm going to close out this reading, and I hope you stay tuned for another one. This is my first time doing divination with the dice, so definitely let me know in the comments how accurate I am.